It is started.
All right.
So we're both live on YouTube and Facebook now.
All right. And I got the notification on my phone. So we're on. Let's
Cool.
Start with. Do you want to start with Iran because it's off the docket and it's a good thing to lead in? Like you pronounce the name, so.
Okay. There's some Iran news right now. At the moment, Iran is really hot right now.
So hot right now.
It's so hot right now. Iran is so hot right now. And which one? First, start with Shirin Ebadi, the Nobel Peace Prize winner.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Sean. Shirin Ebadi is the only Iranian who ever. Hey, Jack. And Kevin. Hey, Kevin. Shirin Ebadi is the only Iranian who's ever won the Nobel Peace Prize. Any Nobel Prize, to be honest. And she was a lawyer, and she worked with women. Yeah, we have 1 or 2 viewers on YouTube, dude. We crazy. And so she was basically helping Baha'is and minorities and women, and she won a Nobel Peace Prize. But after that, she became very friendly with NIAC, which is National Association of
If
Iranian.
you're an Iranian Canadian, it's
Iranian
the American
American.
ICC.
Yeah.
And
it's basically a lobby group that is very supportive of regime in Iran.
Yeah.
And so Shirin Ebadi was kind of a buddy with them. And years and years, we wrote her letters and we messaged her and said, hey, get away from these people. These are regimes made up opposition. And she wouldn't. But finally, according to Bloomberg, she's finally reached a decision that, yeah, you know what? These guys are supporters of regime and we should stay away from them. And reform doesn't work in Iran and the regime needs to change. The Nobel Peace Prize winner, it took her 5 years to get to where we were.
Sucker. Yeah, take that. And if you want some reference into why the regime is absolute nonsense, the top video on this page, it's pinned, is just a quick
you
explainer.
You go to on a page, yeah.
It is 8 minutes if you want to know how Iran works, how they have a fake democracy, how elections are barely even elections. It's all there. Yeah. And then if you want to learn about pottery, go to siasufiinaspeedo.com/
So we have okay. So yeah, that was a good news that came out of Iran. And the other thing that was shook the Iranian community abroad, well, not really. We were kind of like interested, but at the same time we were like, ugh. Like we didn't know how to respond to it. Like there was this vegan Iranian American health and fitness nut and animal activist lady who went to YouTube building and started shooting up the joint. And she was the only person who got killed. Thank God.
Oh, thank God she's the only. Okay, there's 2 thank God. Thank God she's the only one that died because I'd feel really bad.
Not thank God that she died because
she's the only one that died. No, thank God no one else died because it makes it okay the next day to get on the internet and make fun of her crazy ass eyes, which are hilariously crazy.
Oh, dear Lord.
And
look at those eyes. Those are the eyes that look through you.
And let's also be thankful that this wasn't some Trump supporter getting mad at YouTube for banning guns.
Oh, dear Lord.
Because then this would have been the call for like the internet and Google and YouTube would have like gone straight. Would have been next day.
Half of conservative websites and channels
and we wouldn't be able to say anything about it. And maybe like Shapiro and Crowder would stay up there, but every other conservative site at like lower mid-level and just start picking them off.
All of them would have been gone. All of them would have been gone. Literally, YouTube would have had a crackdown on everybody.
Yeah, Sean. I listen. I can't 100%. I know that's true of like basically the ICC in Canada, so I assume it's also true of NIAC in America. So you can validate that, but that, like, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, who else made the Iran deal? Who's railing against the Iran deal? And the Iran deal is a gold-plated blowjob to the Iranians.
$150 billion sent to Iran by Obama.
What's the deal? What does America get in return? A nuclear Iran?
No, in 20 years, a nuclear Iran. Stop saying nuclear.
Nuclear.
I have to correct him. Nuclear.
Okay.
But yeah, that was the story that basically shook everybody up. And thank God that it was this lady. But the funny thing was, the media literally was not interested at all. Like, the left wasn't interested because it wasn't.
Well, they were all gun ho. It was like gun ho, another shooting.
Everybody was like,
shooting. This is, and you see all the tweets like, if this isn't a white male Trump supporter, I will do this, and this. Well, none of this happened. And then all that happened, and then it was like instant silence.
Everyone was like, God damn it. So close. So close.
There was one good one from like a guy, I think he was even Twitter verified. He's like, yeah, it's time to politicize this. I'm going to politicize out of this, and I'm going to politicize. And then it was like, bam, it was not a white man. And then it all of a sudden those same people were like, no, we don't. Why are you making this a political thing? Which isn't even a political thing. It's just a crazy woman being crazy. But
literally,
I think everyone at least saw one of like. How many people saw the video of her dancing with a rabbit? And like, didn't she dress as her father for a part? And like, all right.
I did not spend a lot of time watching her
I saw one thing.
I'm going to be honest. Hey, Jake, thanks for joining. So yeah, this was basically, as an Iranian, I was like, should I be proud that Iranians have integrated to a point that they now attempt mass shootings? Because if you think about it, after like that sniper guy, we
have to say, trying a mass shooting without yelling "Allahu Akbar," right? That's a new thing.
No, that was
a new thing.
The Western style of
a mass shooting.
And no, Allahu Akbar never comes with mass shooting. It doesn't happen with mass shootings usually. No, not never, but mostly it's a
San Bernardino couple.
Bomb, but
bombs are individual.
Very
shooting.
Rarely
when
they
people,
use guns.
Yeah, guns happen in San Bernardino because couples usually don't want to emulate themselves together, so guns make more sense in that.
Yeah.
So,
but this was an American style of mass shooting, and I was kind of like Patrice O'Neill had a joke about the black sniper guy. The black guy was a sniper and would Washington, I think it was. He would go around and kill, and he was like, "Yeah, we arrived." Everybody thought it was like a cracker, cracker with a pickup truck, but it was a dude, basically the N-word in a Buick. That was his joke. Basically, like, we arrived. We are now here. This is our home.
Also,
so as an Iranian, I kind of think like, okay, she was integrated enough to join the whole thing, but at the same time,
I agree,
like,
Kevin.
Ugh.
I agree.
Like, she was a vegan?
Well, the good thing is we got to make fun
Yikes.
of. No one died except her. So that next day we get to make fun of vegans. Plus,
yeah, that was the greatest thing that came out of it. Was the fact that.
Okay, we'll put this question also to the audience. They can answer this. We'll talk about the vegan thing. Is this a good thing or bad thing for the feminist image? Women, we can mass shoot a place.
Oh, it's definitely good.
It's definitely good.
Definitely
but they didn't kill anyone.
It's very empowering for women to mass shoot. I want to invite
guys,
all our female audience.
That is a joke. Women out there, the only thing that empowers women is the hijab. Okay, we just want to make it clear we are feminists, so cover the fuck up.
But no, in reality, I don't know why feminists are very adamant in taking the worst aspects of manhood as the symbols of we are not oppressed anymore. We now can be jerks and players and whatevers. No, that's not cool. That was like the derogatory stuff. But hey, at least she was a
it's
vegan.
like, yeah, now we can be womanizers too.
Move a little to this side because you're out of the frame.
You turned it there.
Yeah.
All right.
And every once in a while, look into this camera.
Look at you. Camera to this.
We have two cameras, guys. We are very professionals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Screw you guys.
So yeah, that was the lucky thing to conclude basically, because there's not much to talk about this subject, but the fact that thank God she was a vegan.
And also,
and not a white nationalist. Hey, Mika.
Civil Space wants to remind you not to kill people. Civil Space is sponsored by not killing people. don't kill people since forever. Not killing
it's
people.
Not a cool idea, and she was obviously very disturbed. Like she had mental issues, obviously.
Side effects
like
may
that
include not going
look
to jail for murder.
just shows it. That her
And
eyes
diarrhea.
was just like, ooh, she is looking at the distance, like she is looking at the horizon.
Yeah, those are some crazy
through
eyes.
you. And but thank God nobody was hurt. Nobody was seriously hurt. And this stopped. But if it wasn't a gun-free zone, maybe this wouldn't have happened.
Should someone try a scientific study of crazy eyes?
I don't know. I do believe in crazy eyes.
Oh, I
think
so
crazy
believe.
eyes
Oh yeah,
is a thing. Literally is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, as an Iranian, this incident made me go, meh. But as a Canadian, I was like, meh, I don't care. But thank God that she was a vegan. So let's move to the next subject, which is ding.
I'm gonna pick the Mohammed bin Salman one because we covered it a bit on Tuesday.
Yeah. Saudi Arabia is going hardcore.
Senpaku, Japanese word for crazy eyes. Oh, we all learned something today. The map lady video.
I think Jack keeps using Senpaku for everything.
Hey, Seema. So Mohammed bin Salman is the crown prince of Saudi Arabia. So effectively, is the next ruler. And I read an article by like Caroline Glick, who's a sort of right wing, very very pro Zionist. It's really thing. Caroline Glick, her thing is sort of taking this through a Jewish Zionist lens. And he was sort of, we'll say, highly cautiously optimistic and took the sense of, is he really supporting the existence of Israel? And when he came down to it, like Mohammed bin Salman is not taking the right-wing Zionist approach on Israel or not even the right-wing Zionist. He's not even taking, he's honest, he's not even taking the full Zionist approach, to be honest, of directly saying that the Jewish people have land rights to exist. He didn't say like the magic words, but
no, he said they have a right to
exist.
Yeah.
And that's sort of enough because there's a power balance in the Middle East that, I think Mohammed bin Salman's kind of shown that if he had complete autocratic control, right? He's still an autocrat, but if he had magical control, right? He could say Israel's a thing and he could work with Israel openly and stop Iran and just do what he wants. But not only does he have to carry his own country with him, Saudi Arabia also has to carry all the other Arab nations with it in time, so it can't move too quickly, right? It could only move and then wait for the Arab world to catch up with it and then move again. So it's very slow.
Yeah, Sean, I don't know that rumor. I don't know that report. Send it to us if you have any solid evidence.
Yeah, she could have been anyone.
Mandana, yeah, that's why I said it's a meh, basically.
We just brought up because CEO's proud of his Iranian
heritage. Everybody mentioned that she was Iranian. I was like, meh, because she did that because she was a crazy vegan and a crazy animal activist, not because she was Iranian. She didn't go, hey, hail the supreme leader, or like death.
Cyrus the Great!
She said animals and my YouTube viewers. So that's why I said, yeah, she was Iranian, but we're like, meh, it's really unimportant where she was from because she really didn't give us anything.
No.
Other than meat is murder, but killing people isn't.
Rohingyas and Sudanese refugees in Canada. I could actually cover this a bit. So Rohingya, it's going to be the new thing that the Liberal government is going to dishonestly push upon us, and it's tragic. So the Rohingya report that Bob Rae just released. Bob Rae was a socialist who's messed up Ontario. It's known for being one of the worst regimes in Ontario. He messed it up so bad he left the NDP, joined the Liberals. He was then interim leader. Now he's in charge of the Rohingya report, and it's the most not even a far right-wing Rohingya activist who's like pro massacring the Burmese would write such a one-sided report of what's going on. It is not even. It's not tethered. I would say it's not tethered to. It's firmly tethered though to 10% of reality and to 0% of 90%. So they're pushing it like the Rohingyas are just being persecuted out of nowhere, which is ridiculous. The Rohingyas and the Burmese were on opposite sides of World War II, so they have been constant conflict for the last 70 years. There was a whole campaign led by the Rohingyas against the Burmese in the 60s. The Rohingyas actually used to be part of what is like Bangladesh, East Pakistan when it was a thing. So they tried to convert. Now there's a whole threat of Islamism, and global jihadist groups like Al-Qaeda are calling for Islamists and jihadists to flood the area. So there's big concerns out of that. But there wasn't a lot of Islamists in Myanmar because it doesn't have that much money. So a big thing is the Burmese, their rhetoric is, look, the Islamists are using all this foreign money to fund terror, and that's making the Burmese scared because there's some truth to that. So right before a UN inspection, an Islamist terrorist group in Myanmar launched a court just to get a reprisal right before the UN came. So it was this faked up violence that clearly orchestrated and worked. And then Trudeau sent Bob Rae down there, and he's basically, the report is just the Rohingyas are persecuted. There's nothing about nationalist Buddhist movements who are against Islamization. There's nothing about the Islamists. There's nothing about Islamists coming in. The report has just said basically discrimination in Burma has just dropped from the sky from nowhere. It doesn't take into account that this country has been at war with itself. And the Burmese, it's not only a Burmese versus Rohingya civil war, right? The Rohingya don't even have support in Bangladesh. They were fighting ethnic minorities in Bangladesh. And there are other civil wars that, right, Aung San Suu Kyi, right, used to be against the government. There are other factions other than this that it's so complicated, but there's no money. So here's the bottom line of the Rohingya. There's barely any money, and that's the trigger to this, is once you throw money into the situation, then you have incentive because there's a poor country, you've added plunder. So what the Liberals are advocating for is to basically create a super genocide there by flooding a poor area of the world with a lot of problems with some blind money, which always goes to the people with guns. So that makes them buy more guns, which means the army has to ramp up, and it just perpetuates the conflict and makes it go farther. And it incentivizes people to fight because now there's something to fight for. There's a little bit of money in your country. So the Liberals' plan for the Rohingya is to make everything worse.
Are you sorry now that you asked this question or not? We accept your apology right down there. Write it down.
Oh, no, everyone like that.
Nerd.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, screw you. Everyone loved that rant. Viewers going up. There you go.
Yeah,
there you
I'm
go.
Inviting people.
There you go.
Anyways, so where were we when we jumped into Rohingyas?
Okay.
We're talking about Mohammed bin Salman.
We're talking about Mohammed bin Salman,
Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And this guy has been meeting with Jewish groups in New York and all over the place. And he is probably going to be the next king of Saudi Arabia.
If you want to know refugees here, I'll just answer that. The refugee system is so overswamped and it's backwards and broken already from 57,000 Syrians. So no, like it's already broken.
Yeah, the refugee system in Canada.
And it's nothing to do with Rohingyas, Muslims, Christians. It's broken already.
The refugee system in Canada worked with the amount that Canada was taking in. It was able to basically educate them, teach them English, show them the ropes, and send them into the public. And it was a good system. I came under that system, and Canada was taking about like 5,000 refugees a year.
And was lauded by the UN for doing so.
And it was the highest after United States, which takes like over 50,000. Mm-hmm. And Canada was second. And everybody's like oh, America is so blah, blah, blah. America was taking more refugee than the whole world kind of combined, except for like countries that refugees flood into.
Yeah.
From the neighboring countries.
In terms of like accepting legal refugees, America takes more than the rest.
From the UN, America was taking 50,000 refugees from UN. Yeah. UNHCR basically approves of you as a refugee, and then you are accepted, and then countries take you from UNHCR. And Canada was taking 5,000, and that system worked for Canada with 5,000. But when you suddenly put in 60,000 refugees into that same system, the whole system is going to collapse because you don't have the money.
I can tell you right now, I work for one of the things I do is we work with Project Abraham. So we help Yazidi refugees. Yazidis have been massacred by ISIS. So we do a private program. We say we take the Yazidis, we lobby for them, and we take the Yazidis and we take them out of the government system and we handle them privately within their own little community, and we try and help them integrate. And the reason we do that is, one, they completely phoned in with the Syrian stuff. They just have, for general Syrians, so they just have like Arabic, and for like Muslim Syrians, but they don't have anything for the oppressed religious minorities, which is what you're supposed to have refugees for. So
that's the weird thing.
So the religious minorities that we're taking
like Iranian Baha'is are accepted. Iranian Baha'is have created a system in America that when the Baha'i International Council announces that, this approves, that basically confirms that this person is a Baha'i, he is immediately sure. He basically is short. What do you call it? Like fast track
or shortlisted to
there's to basically his immigration. He circles around the UN procedure and immediately goes to ICMC. But other groups don't have that. A lot of other groups
and
don't
I just want to say,
and minorities are the most oppressed groups in those countries. But they have.
So I'm just going to give you some numbers on why we can't accept any more refugees in Canada, or why we shouldn't, or should accept very few numbers for a few years. So we take them privately because the average government caseworker. So when a refugee family comes in, the average government caseworker works with 120 families. So if they are working every day of the year, they can see pretty much, and trust me, it's a lot of work. They can deal with each family's needs 3 times a year. So a family who has no ability to integrate into society could deal with their caseworker 3 times a year. Every 4 months, you can, like, so that's, and if you just add, we can take another 100,000 refugees. Who's going to take care of them, right? Then then you see these people once a year, mate. Like
that's the thing. That's what happens in, for example, Italy. I had a roommate, Italian roommate, who was telling me, and she was a far lefty, very open lefty, and she was talking about the fact that because Italy cannot stop refugees from coming in, they have the most horrible conditions in Italy. What's happening is they are just taking them in, and the government just creates these departments to oversee the refugees, basically creates jobs for people who are close to the government. And so they oversee the refugees, but it can't support those refugees. They're living in ghettos in most terrible condition. They're not learning the language, and
Italy's at a point where it could barely support Italy at the time the refugees came in.
They can't get a job because they don't speak the language and all that stuff. So it's just horrible, and it's getting worse, and you're just dumping more on top of the ghetto that you already have created. That's what happens when you take that small number. It helps spread them out and give them an actual chance to a better life. But when you bring in like 70,000 suddenly, you're not going to be able to.
You break the system.
They're going to immediately get close to each other, because they don't, most of them don't speak the language, so they immediately go into that's the reason refugees and immigrants, that's the reason they clump together, because they don't speak the language.
This is ghettoization. This is where the term came from.
That's why
it's a natural thing for people when they are a bit different, right, or have struggles, they'll self-ghettoize to make things easier.
They immediately are attracted to each other, the group, because they think they can help each other, and the most crimes happen in those groups because people who are living there already know that the newcomers don't know the laws. They don't know what to do, so they can easily trick them, rob them, and take all their stuff, everything, take them for everything they have. So that's why the crimes in those communities are so high, because these people are not aware of what's going to happen. Like, what's the law? How can I be protected? They're coming from terrible countries. They don't expect the government to protect them. They really don't. That's why all these phone scams are popular among immigrants. They just call immigrants and say, hey, you owe us tax dollars. If you don't pay right now, we're going to send the police. And poor immigrants hears it and goes, holy crackers. They immediately pay it because they don't know how the system works. So that's the problem, and Canada is also falling into it.
Kat said, Trudeau says we're taking 10,000 Sudanese that Israel rejected. Well, Trudeau would take 1 billion Sudanese that anyone
Trudeau has promised 300,000 a year immigrants a year.
It's absolute madness. Just
imagine
everything he says is wrong. Everything he suggests is bad, and just I don't know.
It's just scary. What's happening?
Fidel needs to run for office in the Islamic Republic of Iran. Yeah. Okay, I agree. Fair enough.
No, he's not going to be approved by the Guardian Council because he is not committed to the supremacy of the jurist or the Ayatollahs.
Yeah, he is.
No.
The supremacy of social justice.
Supremacy, basically. It's kind of prima nota.
I guess.
So, yeah. And
all right, so we'll get back to Mohammed bin Salman eventually. Yeah. So we've meandered back
to Mohammed bin Salman. Basically, it's all all connected. Mohammed bin Salman, he is, in my opinion, he is the figure, the iron fist figure who's going to be able to change Middle East forever. Arab countries, except for Egypt, with Egypt and Iraq that had like big powerful dictators who came and changed a lot of stuff. The Persian Gulf area, countries around Persian Gulf, Saudi Arabia, Oman, these countries really didn't have that kind of figure who would change the country. And he might be the guy who, not only Saudi Arabia,
he's going to change the country.
Saudi Arabia is the epicenter of Islam. So when Saudi Arabia changes, it's like Vatican. We've talked about this before many times.
It's
the whole thing, it's a ripple effect. The whole Islamic world will change. Because just as you can't be more Catholic than Pope, you cannot be more religious than Saudi Arabia. It's just a fact. Every country says it. Saudi Arabia was always the example of hardcore fundamentalism. Every shitty country that you lived in under, like every regime, Islamic Republic, we lived under Islamic Republic, and we used to say, thank God we're not living in Saudi Arabia, where women can't drive. At least Iranian women can drive. They're beaten up in the street, but they can drive. But right now, in Saudi Arabia, women can drive, women can sing, women can become muftis, women can travel without the permission of their husbands or fathers, and Jews are okay. So Saudi Arabia shot suddenly 10 steps ahead of all the, not just Iran, Islamic Republic, which was the regime. If you notice, I try to always say Islamic Republic and not Iran, because to me these are two different things. Completely. It's two different things, because when a regime has to beat the crap out of its own people every day, after 40 years it still has to beat the crap out of them every day in the street. That means these are not the same things, and they can never be. So but Saudi Arabia right now is way more progressive than Iran. Iranian regime. So what's the excuse for other countries? They can say, yeah, Saudis don't know anything about Islam. Yeah, they kind of do. They have Mecca, they're the keepers of tradition, and when they say it's time, it's time.
Yeah. And we just maybe didn't talk about it, but his direct calling out the Muslim Brotherhood will be big, because that's a big no-no. We don't talk about that in the West.
First time in Muslim world you don't talk about it.
Well, I mean,
in the Muslim world, the governments are afraid of Muslim Brotherhood because it's a massive organization with many members and support in all Arab countries. It's an Arab country thing. It's not like Indonesia. I don't think they have a. Like,
they have.
No, Indonesia. They have
affiliates.
They have a version. Yeah.
There's South Asia does.
But
have
it
a
started in most of these start in Middle East. So Muslim Brotherhood, they're all afraid of them. Like you saw what happened in Egypt. The moment Mubarak, the secular dictator, went away, Muslim Brotherhood won. And they were fast. It's not one or two funders. It's religion. In Islam, we have this thing called the mufti, or the religious leaders, clergy. People, by the rule of Islam, people have to pay a fifth of their income in a year as kind of a tax for redistribution of wealth to that clergy or the religious leader that they believe in and follow. So That's how all the seminaries and all these religious schools and stuff, madrasas, get their funding from muftis who pay get the money from people. Basically, people pay them, and these muftis and ayatollahs and whatever send this money to people who need money and to religious schools, and a lot of them send them to these kinds of guys. So that's how it works. It's people usually who send them. And yes, there are billionaires and stuff, just as we saw in Saudi Arabia, a lot of them were arrested. A lot of billionaires were suddenly arrested. And everyone was like, what?
Oh,
like the dude with $17 billion, like, yeah, chill. That's right, bitches. Like, they just arrested the guy. So that is what is happening. Islamic world is bound to see some massive changes. And I think this is the guy to do it. And Islamic Republic couldn't be more scared right now in Iran, because Saudi Arabia is now more progressive. There is no propaganda war to win. It was always deflection. What about
deflection? Well, I think that's one of the big reasons why you're seeing a flare up in the Gaza Strip right now. I think this is some sort of proxy propaganda war.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Israel. So we'll talk about this.
The Islamic Republic has always said, the authorities have always said, our battlefront is Israel. If we make them focus there, they can't focus on us.
Yeah.
So that is their battlefront.
So you see, right, they fund Hamas. And so Hamas is taking a big gamble on this. And I think, I think it might pay off, because they're relying a little heavily on the Israelis' sort of kindness and sort of non-aggression here with them at the border, because what they're proposing, and they know what they're proposing, is an end to any illusion of peace between Gaza
we have
and
a
Israel.
video for you.
And what they're doing is, I mean, think of it. They're lighting tire fires to give cover and obstruct Israel's view, and then they're trying to move thousands of people across the border into Israel. Some of them armed, some of them not armed. They're clearly sending their own men in armed in civilian clothing. This has been their tactic since time immemorial, and Israel's going to have to stop it. So their plan is, hopefully they can breach the fence, and Israel has to kill hundreds of them trying to corral it. And Israel saying, oh, no, we tried to shoot the terrorists, and they're all terrorists, and Israel needs to take a better line here and say, Hamas terrorists say, what you're doing is illegal. What you're doing is an act of war. If you breach the fence en masse, we will see that as a hostile action of war. We will then declare war on Hamas. We will take out anyone pushing back across the border, go into Gaza, and kill everyone in the government we know responsible for this. And that's what they should say and do. But they're going to try and just, tear gas the whole thing away and only shoot when shot at. And then someone's going to take a shot into the crowd. And then that's going to be on Israel shot this 14-year-old kid in the leg. How could they? Well, they repelled an invasion of 40,000 people with only killing like less than 20. So that's going to be that. And the Western media has bought this up already. There is, I watch, sometimes I try and watch people you think are smart. Like, I know Colin Kalinski's secular talk sometimes it can be measured and bring up things I don't know and can give me a new perspective. But I just heard him on this, and he was just like a raving lunatic. Just
Who?
Kyle Clinton, secular talk. Young Turks now. Just went. He's full Young Turks.
Young Turks are completely. Yeah.
He was fully just Israel just murdered 15 people. Murdered them now. And I mean, you said nothing. It's like, yeah, that's because they didn't murder people.
Oh, dude, you should watch RT. RT, the Russian thing.
Oh, they're going
hard at Israel.
Man, just
going hard.
Yeah, these right. This is why I say, for disclaimer, I don't think Putin controls CNN and tells them what to do. But CNN is like Russian propaganda, and the way I know this is because everyone who was posting Russian propaganda in 2014 and 15, the RT on their Facebook page, all these people were lefties, right? And now all these people are posting CNN stuff, and it's the exact same narrative. But I mean, the easiest way to disprove the Trump-Russia thing is just look at the narrative Trump's setting out in Israel and just look at the narrative that Russian state media takes against Trump. Trump's policies in Russian state media are directly at odds with each other. It's so ridiculous that this is, well, the
look in this camera too.
To the one guy, hello, Steven.
Yeah.
Our viewer in YouTube. I'm glad we've taken time away from the people here.
You're still talking. I'm just saying, look sometimes in this direction too.
Okay,
don't
guys,
be like
guys, just let's see how much you like it when he bosses me around. Just give him a lot of encouragement. Like the page, share, make little Sia caricatures. Don't draw the intern Muhammad. You know, the standard.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna RT. Yeah, RT is Russian propaganda, and it's straight against Trump. So it's patently absurd, this whole thing. And it just came out recently that Robert Mueller has finally announced there is no criminal investigation into Donald Trump over the Russia stuff. We've known this forever. If there was any criminal information, it would have been leaked immediately. Everything has been leaked out of the Trump White House, almost like every single thing. So if there was actual criminal intelligence, that would have been out a nanosecond after Robert Mueller found it. He finally couldn't keep pretending that this was going on, that he had to finally say, okay, there's nothing criminal on Trump. But he still wants to talk to Trump about possible collusion and Manafort and all these people we knew were, dirty before they got in with Trump. And really, this is the final legal trap for Trump. It's the only way they can get him now is if he talks to Mueller, and Mueller can talk in a way that's clever enough to catch him in a perjury trap, which is easy enough because Donald Trump likes saying brash things. But if you go into an official statement where Donald says, I have the best relationship with everyone ever on the planet. Everyone loves me. I talk to everyone all the time. And then says, did you talk to this person? Well, no, I don't talk to them. I never talk to them. They're terrible people. I never talk to terrible people. And then he's going to go to jail for lying to the FBI, or the Democrats will scream impeachment because he told Robert Mueller that he's the greatest. And then he also said that other people were the greatest. And this will be the nonsense that we'll talk about. So it's basically, can Trump resist the urge to run his mouth? Can he shut up and not want to talk to someone and make this go away? And if he can, then the Democrats' last straw will say, oh, he didn't want to talk to Mueller, so he's guilty. That has no legal ground, so they can't do anything about it. If he does talk to Mueller, this will be the grounds for impeachment come 2018 or 2020. It will. Democrats be they won't listen. They won't care what the investigation comes out with. They'll just try and impeach anyway. There's Daniel's legal breakdown. Hey, Rick. What up, Sia?
Hey, Rick. What's happening? Yeah. So what else is there?
I think we covered everything on the set list. Unless you want to give your opinion on Russia.
Yeah.
Mueller.
We've talked about it.
We've talked about it. Yeah, it's done. The nail is in the coffin.
Then the thing that was nothing turns out to be nothing.
Yeah, if you watch the Comey report, when Comey's this is all pretty much put. This is basically a repeat
that
of the
thing
Comey
was
testimony.
that Democrats were just pushing around so they won't feel like losers that lost the elections like a bitch,
like a bunch of losing losers.
Remember that thing? It turned out to be exactly something that bunch of losers made up to basically push.
But
to cover the fact that they were losers.
Facebook ads convince people to vote for Trump.
Yeah,
I saw it. I know.
Even if Trump wasn't the president, if it wasn't the candidate, people would not. The majority of Americans would not have voted.
The Russians backed Trump in the election. We know that. They also backed Trudeau as Prime Minister of Canada.
No, they don't count the fact that yes, the Russians did that, but 99% of the media outlets were pushing for Hillary and just trashing Trump freaking daily. And minute by minute.
And have you seen these Russian
Trump drank water today. Does he not care about Africans? What the? It was every freaking minute.
2 scoops of ice cream.
Russians used Facebook because they hated Hillary too. But they're not big fans of Trump. Putin just hates Hillary.
Yeah, and now he hates Trump. Now he hates Trump too.
It was as simple as that. All your media,
have you read these
machine behind Hillary, all the freaking CNN hosts after the election said it. They said, "Hey, we did everything we could." One of them, that Cuomo guy, literally says it on screen. He says, "Hey, we did everything we could." Everybody was pushing for
my other thing with the Russian Facebook ads is, have you ever seen when foreign people try and
Michael. Michael.
Okay, so have you ever seen like Russian Facebook, or even when the Iranian cyber army comes and tries to make fun of us, when they try and write in English, it is "you is bad, very extremist man, you." Who, and it's the same thing with Russia. The Russian Facebook bots, if you see them, are like, Hillary is no good, fat big ass face, and they're like, okay, who's honestly convinced? Well, I was going to vote for Hillary, but she might be a fat McAss face, so I'm not going to vote for that.
The empire that was behind her, Wall Street, the whole might of Wall Street was behind her. All the economists in the Wall Street said
she had one policy for the public and one for Wall Street, just for them.
Trump comes along, Dow is gonna hit rock bottom. It's gonna go to AA. It's gonna be so bad. And Wall Street, all the media, yeah, Russians pushed maybe against her, but she had everybody.
We'll cover Rick's stuff. So Putin met with
Colbert, John Oliver, all of Obama,
every celebrity,
unprecedented sitting president bashing one of the candidates and saying they will not be president. Okay, that is dictator level shit.
I'm gonna give Obama a pass on Trump because Trump broke all the that I'm fine with, because Trump broke all the rules of standard candidacy. He went after Obama. He took off the gloves and he fought bare knuckle.
After all the candidates go after the president.
No, but like he went after him.
That's his job.
Like
no, he's not American
in a statesman way. He did that. He had the personal thing, right? He had the Kenya stuff, and Donald Trump took off the gloves and threw haymakers and low blows.
True. The president is in a different place.
The president should, but that same thing should apply to Trump. To be honest, then
he wasn't the president when
he's
he
the president now.
Kenya stuff.
He's the president now, starting a Twitter war with Jeff Bezos for no reason.
Well, yeah, that's Trump. We know Trump.
Yeah. Okay, but
Trump is the result
of Obama. I know this.
That's the whole idea. Trump is the result of what Democrats have done.
I don't like this type of line where it kind of makes Trump's behavior okay.
Start from Bill Clinton. Okay, Bill Clinton did the sex thing, and Republicans pushed on it.
It made it more popular.
Yeah. And then when Bush was elected, first of all, they did try not to accept it because they didn't want to accept the popular vote. And they even rescinded their
no, not the electoral vote. He lost the popular vote. He won the electoral college.
Bush lost the popular vote and won the electoral.
Yeah. You said they tried to reject the popular. Never mind. They tried to push same thing. They tried to push the popular vote.
So anyways, when Bush won, they didn't want to accept it. And then the insults that Democrats started to hurl at George Bush. Yes, George Bush was an incompetent president. And it's okay to joke about your president. But on TV, every day, they were cursing at the guy. Literally, from Jon Stewart to Bill Maher and everyone. And Bill Maher then was really depressed and angered that one governor basically raised a finger in front of Obama. No. She was talking to Obama. I think it was Nikki Haley, actually.
Yeah.
God bless that woman. She was raising a finger to Obama, and he was like, how dare you treat your president like this? You're racist.
Yeah, pushing the racist.
And it's like, really? You were calling George Bush from a mongrel to an incest kid to his wife. Christopher Hitchens went after Bill Maher on his show. He said, you are not chivalrous. You went after the guy's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, Christopher Hitchens flipping off Bill Maher's audience. I saw a great cartoon today.
Democrats started this.
There was a thing, I found a super progressive Facebook page that like sponsored a video. And the video was basically like a Nazi in a time machine coming on the Bill Maher show. And it was like this ultra progressive page showing like how ridiculous it is that people even talk to Nazis these days. And it was actually Bill Maher's real time they were portraying as this alt-right neo-Nazi hangout. Bill Maher, because sometimes he says, hey, Muslims go boom.
Yeah,
and sometimes they say, I'm a Muslim and I'm going boom for Islam right now. And we should talk about that.
Good. Bill Maher deserves whatever comes at him, okay? I like the guy because he is himself. He's not a shell. He's not a mouthpiece, but he is dumb. He suffers dumbness, okay? The man curses every day and screams about PC and censorship, and he doesn't understand where it comes from, really. Socialism. That's the cause of all the PC and cultural relativism for Islam and all the stuff that he is screaming about every day. He doesn't understand that, oh, all of these are results of socialism that I push on my show proudly every week. He doesn't get it. He can't put 2 and 2 together. So he kind of deserves whatever is coming to for
and this is.
But I commend the guy for bringing on Milo, even though I think
mean heat, not physical damage. Don't attack Bill Maher. Don't attack anyone.
No,
except ISIS.
Whatever's coming to him, I'm saying
I know.
The left is going to censor him.
Oh yeah, the left.
He's gonna probably. I'm predicting that in a couple of years, he might lose his show. Oh well, Trump is now in power, so it might change with Roseanne and stuff. But overall, maybe the entertainment business will change a bit. Because this Roseanne thing, let's talk about Roseanne a bit. I want to talk about Roseanne. I have a lot to say about Roseanne.
More than I have to say about the Rohingya?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was very fascinating. But but the Roseanne thing it's hopeful. Yes, she is a progressive and she is a crazy lady. Okay, she is a crazy lady. Roseanne is a crazy lady. Come into the frame.
Oh yeah.
I'm not bossing you around. I just want you to be in frame, bro.
I just don't want to be associated with Roseanne talk.
Yes,
this is so boring.
She is a crazy woman. She accused, when she had mental breakdown, she accused her family of incest and all that stuff.
I assume that's Obama who called Ahmadinejad's translator the most progressive Iranian intellectual. Yeah,
he called Ahmadinejad's translator. I don't know.
Oh, maybe that was Bill Maher who did that. Hey, like, what does Bill Maher know about
exactly, Bruce?
These issues? Bill
Maher has to realize that. That's exactly what I'm saying. He has to realize, oh, I'm doing this.
It's a good analogy.
Yeah, he can't just take one side. Like Bill Burr had a joke about feminism.
Yeah,
he said they're treating equality like a buffet. They go, okay, I like this and I like this. No, you're either equal in everything or nothing. You can't be like, I'm gonna take this aspect that I like and that aspect that I like, but you still have to do these things. No, that's the same thing with Bill Maher. You can't treat like free speech only when it fits your business.
I like liberalism. I'll have freedom of speech, and I'll have freedom to criticize religion, freedom of religion.
Yeah, but let's call everybody else racist. Yeah. For 8 years, I call every Obama critic a racist. Every single one of them. I'm going to call him racist. And his joke was always, I don't know what this is about this president. That I don't know. Like, ugh. Like, cringe. Like, ugh. I don't know. It was like so cringy. They're probably racist because they don't like Obama.
And then he did
obviously.
And he did the intelligence thing of like, come on. I don't think every Republican
is racist, but all racists are Republicans.
That
for sure, Bill. For sure. All racists are Republican. Most racists were part of Democratic Party, bro.
Andrew Jackson, the founder of the Democratic Party, was a slave trader. And economic populism was all about, like, left-wing economics in the States started as a way
Hamilton. Friggin' Hamilton. Mm-hmm. The power of the state. He was the head of this thing. But that Democrats are so in love with, and they have a show about.
But even Hamilton,
he also rapped. Apparently, he was the father of rap music.
Yeah.
And but I don't know. My knowledge of musical theater.
But like Hamilton, if he came back and if they started listening to what Hamilton said today, he'd be all right.
He was against federalism. He was against the federalism. Against the state power. He was more power to the
he was a federal power,
government.
and Jefferson
Federalist.
He was a federalist, Jefferson status, and he lost for most of it, but even Alexander Hamilton, I think, would say the modern left is insane.
Yeah, but Hamilton was the guy who basically, in my opinion, completely
good point, Felisa,
moved the idea of America to a wrong direction from the beginning, because the idea that Jefferson had was
the agrarian
free
republic.
People. We do whatever the hell we want in a civil society. Okay? We will do everything. But Hamilton was the guy who kept pushing for the more power of the government. But America was even supposed to be way freer than what it is right now.
I wouldn't call welfare slavery. I would say welfare is a luxury prison. It's a padded cell, in a way. It keeps you in a trap. It's not like
welfare is not slavery because it does pay you.
Yeah, it's a prison. It's a prison. You can break out of prison. You can't like run. Well, you can run away from slavery. Okay, I guess that, but it's I don't see this. But yeah, welfare is this and this is sort of the argument. I was thought about this argument a lot.
It's a form of ghettoization.
Like people try and explain away sort of we'll say like, okay, of course,
to keep people down.
So there are negative racial disparity statistics that when you just look at them at face value are like, okay, the obvious one is blacks, 13% of the population, 50% of the murder rate. And the left likes to explain all of this away through racism. And you say, well, if you look at economic disparity, that's because of racism, this because of racism, all that. I'm not saying racism isn't a factor, but it's a multivariate factor.
Yes.
I'll do whatever I want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Whoever you want.
Whoever, I saw that.
Yeah.
Sally.
But hey, first of all, something about Jefferson that people need to know. The man was for equality for everyone. Everyone. He was the guy who was talking about abolishing slavery when he was writing the Constitution. He was one of the writers of the Declaration.
And he wrote the original draft of the Declaration draft, and James Madison wrote the majority of the Constitution.
But it was basically, it was basically debated, all of it. And he was for abolishing slavery. That's why basically we call it the roadmap, because it says all men are created equal, not that white men are created equal, because that was supposed to be the roadmap. But Jefferson, because he was in debt, he could not free his slaves. That was the law, because they were your property. And when you were in debt, you were not allowed, basically by law, to free your slaves, because they could have been basically confiscated.
Yeah, confiscated because...
So he and Washington tried to change that law, actually. It's very interesting. Washington and him tried to change that law because they were both people in debt.
But Hillary Clinton stopped them.
Hillary stopped them. Hillary Clinton and the Illuminati. But but they were not allowed. And that's the thing. They just dismissed this great man.
There's more calls it.
He had slaves. Yeah, everybody.
They
and
call
everybody
it.
Else.
And when you go to, I've been to Washington a couple times now, and even to like, okay, maybe a few black tour guides that I've talked to doing this, but they all call it. They look at the Freedom Trail of monuments. They say, here's the Trail of Freedom to us, and they say, that is Thomas Jefferson to Abraham Lincoln to Martin Luther King. You can walk down and go to those monuments in succession, and that's the pathway that most educated Americans understand towards civil liberties. So to say we have to take Thomas Jefferson out of history is absurd. We do that about John A. Macdonald in Canada because we're idiots, some of us.
So okay, I was talking about Roseanne for some reason, and we got to founding fathers.
Okay, I'm gonna just finish up that one slavery rant in case people. Okay, I said people usually say it's like these statistics by slavery. It's much more likely that bad economic outcomes are caused by bad economic policy. I think that's where we're at welfare.
Yeah.
So bad economic policy creates bad economic outcomes, which leads to that. That's a better explanation than racism.
Yeah. So, anyways, Roseanne, what I wanted to talk about was the fact that this show with 18 million debut, if it continues in a few weeks, you're going to see, especially Middle America seems to be like. So if this happens, you're going to see a huge shift There's now even talk of bringing back the Last Man Standing.
Last Man Standing.
Yeah.
Oh, how money gets in the way of the ideology.
It's so...
They thought they'd make money off the because the left played this game of boycotts, and like, okay, we can't anger the left or else we lose money. Then they played that game.
18 million is higher than any sitcom on TV. Any. The last time was 4 years ago, 18.5 million. 4 years ago. Big Bang Theory, none of them have 18 million. Like, so that's gonna help change stuff. But Roseanne is a hardcore progressive. That's not gonna change. She is. She has one brother and one sister who are both gay. Okay? That's why she was so adamant to bring like gays and all those issues on TV. And she's always been a progressive. But right now she's being moved. No, being a real progressive, as in being a liberal, is fine. Being a socialist is a problem. Being a cultural relativist is a problem. And she's not that. But she's a very progressive person. And apparently Middle America doesn't have a problem with that. Like that on the show she has a gender bender like grandson.
Because these issues
they say, hey, it's fine.
It's fine because they're dealing with these issues too. It's some way in real life.
But she is like, she's a crazy lady. She's gonna change stuff. She's never played the game. Never played the game. And she was crazy for a very long time, like mental illness and all that stuff. So she did a lot of crazy stuff too at that time. Like her and Tom Arnold got married on a coke bender, apparently a 3-day coke bender. After that, they basically moved in together. So she's a crazy person. But I think this is going to be a start of a new thing that you're going to see, a new shift in American entertainment, that they're going to start showing, like what happened with Reagan. I honestly believe Trump is going to have the same destiny as Reagan had, to a degree, in that Reagan, when he came to power, who the hell is this guy? Like a second-grade actor. Who the hell is this dude? They were insulting him. Like, go check it out. When the first year
like,
or two,
Reagan, your mama's so fat.
Like everything, your mom gay,
raincoat,
like all that stuff. Taxi. Like all that stuff, your mom gay and everything. Like for 2 years, the media went really hard after Reagan, but he passed the tax reform bill, and then the second turn, he got elected with 49 states. 49 states, okay? And after that, George Bush Sr., who was his vice president, got elected. The dude who literally had no charisma, like Jeb level charisma, because he was also a smart guy.
He was head of the CIA. He was
a very smart guy.
He was a very competent official.
Yeah, but very low charisma. But he got elected. And that's what happens. Trump passed tax reform, low unemployment. Actually, during Reagan, black unemployment hit an all-time high because of his war on drugs.
Employment or unemployment?
Unemployment.
All-time low.
All-time high. On Reagan.
Okay, so
during Reagan, black unemployment hit an all-time high.
Okay.
Because of the war on drugs.
Yeah.
They arrested everybody. Somebody who just smoked a joint, they would arrest.
That was Nancy Reagan's.
Reagan's initiative. Just say no. One time the guy would smoke pot and they would arrest him and throw him in jail. So that just devastated the black community, to be fair.
Yeah.
And that's actually when Democrats shifted the whole thing, did that game of, oh, Republicans are the racist ones.
Yeah.
We're not. Because like until 60s, everybody knew who the racist.
The Dixiecrats.
Everybody knew who the racists were.
This is where we're talking about the Andrew Jackson and economic populism, right? So he was a slave owner and understand the economics of slavery, and he understood how to make people accept slaves. He was a very good slaver. So economic populism, the whole thing of socialism and why it requires so much racism is because this is how you play populations against each other, right? We'll create this national wealth because right? We have Americans and there are others, and there's maybe Irish and blacks. So we need to create sort of this economic, populism where I give you money, right? Don't worry, I'll handle it and I'll keep it away from them and give it to you. And that's what people are like, yeah, because they could people have this, they're going to take it, and people don't understand economics. That the left comes up and gets them. Like every left-wing economic thing, if you look at the history of it, like minimum wage. The people who created minimum wage designed it as a way to get blacks and Mexicans out of the workforce. Yeah. That's what minimum wage is designed. Now, thank God the left doesn't understand economics, so black people still have jobs, and that makes no sense to anyone with a brain. But if you like cursorily think about it, think like a Democrat for a second, guys. And they thought, well, if we say someone has to be paid $10 an hour, no one would ever pay a black man $10, so they would only give $10 to a white person. This way, blacks would have no jobs and would leave the country or starve.
Blacks and Mexicans would have worked for lower. So when you put it up at 10 as a law, so they're going to hire the white guy instead of the black guy.
That was their thought.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So what Reagan did was basically all-time high unemployment for black people because of the whole thing, arrests and the whole war on drugs and everything. And that was the best time for Democrats to change the whole table. And they're the ones who are throwing you in jail. The bad guy, that's the bad guy. Obviously, the guy who's throwing you to jail is the bad guy. So that's when the whole table changed, because before that, everybody knew that Democrats were the racist thing. But economically, because of the economic populism and Lyndon Johnson and all of that, the black people votes shifted towards Democrat because of economics. But they all knew what was the deal. Democrats were against the civil liberties law, the the civil rights movement and everything. So
George Wallace, segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation
the day after tomorrow, and even Friday and Saturday.
And Sunday too.
And God willing, even Monday. But it's a very long and boring rant. Yeah. Like he goes on, just starts going through this.
And on May 5th, 1994, and January 17th in the year 3812.
It is weird. It's a weird rant. But anyway.
And segregation if we ever make it to Mars. I don't want to see black people on my Mars.
Yeah.
I want them on Jupiter. We have Mars, a good white Mars.
But anyways, so Reagan did that, and the economy shot up, and he won 49 states. Now, Trump has done tax reform. Every family is going to feel the effect. He has lowered black unemployment lowest in history.
His black vote will go up by
his black vote is already
50%.
On polls. He's already doubled.
Already doubled. I was just going to say. I say he's going to double. He's doubled on polls already. I had no.
On polls, it was like 6 months ago. He doubled.
And doubling. Polls. I mean, doubling from like what? It was like
8%.
Doubling from 8%. Yeah.
Yeah. 13 among black men, and like 5 among black women. And black women was basically, he's a sexist, he's a pig and grabber, whatever, and all that bullshit stuff, crazy stuff that Trump does as Trump.
But honestly, he didn't.
He is going to. This is my prediction, guys. You can write it down and keep me basically responsible for it. But he's gonna win in a landslide. He is gonna win in a landslide, in a crazy landslide.
Especially if the Democrats take the House. If the Democrats, I think, take over the House, I think you'll get a big Republican turnout in the general. Hey, Sirlag.
Hey, Sharon. Did they take the House? What are you talking about?
If they take the
She says did.
Oh, did. No, they didn't. I'm not sure. Bigly.
Bigly?
This is two different things. Now we're getting confused.
Oh, okay.
It's probably off. Remember, there's a bit of a lag too.
Okay, have Democrats taken the House? They haven't yet. The elections haven't.
I said if they take the House.
No, they okay.
Okay, maybe.
Oh, I forget that there's a delay. But I don't know if Democrats will take the House. I don't think so. But because they haven't done anything.
They haven't done anything. I think they actually would have taken the house if not for their.
Hang on, see. Oh, it's been an hour and 10 minutes. Yeah. We've been on for a very long time. So we're guys, by the way, please put us on notification on our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The link is there. You put up the link?
Nope.
God bless you. It's on our other videos. Just put up the YouTube link and follow us on Twitter too. Did you put the Twitter link?
Nope, didn't do anything because I deleted them and we did it last second.
You had
one. You had one. Well, you can't follow us anywhere on the dark web. We're on the dark web. All right, guys. If you want to follow us, just write a note in your sync and leave it there, and we'll find it.
What say you about our joke of a PM? We have talked about the tears. At some point, you just have to ignore them. Like, what more is there to say about Justin Trudeau?
He's the Prime Minister of peoplekind.
Yeah. His new socks. Like, what?
Hey, did we get? By the way, did we get Passover socks? Justin Trudeau, were there Passover socks this year?
Dear Lord.
You know what? I'd be happy. I would take that as a sign of pride.
Oh, Baram, just
subscribe to our
YouTube channel. Yay, guys.
Thank you, Baram.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Makes you see it feel good. All right, so I think we're all pretty much done here unless someone has something they really want to get off their chest or us to talk about. Justin Trudeau, everything we said it before. Everything he says is wrong. He is a joke. If we should send him on an exploratory mission to Mars, a feminist mission to Mars, or the sun. Let's send him on a feminist quest to the sun, exploratory mission to the sun. Justin Trudeau and Kathleen Wynne can go.
Okay. I'm gonna put up the link to our YouTube channel in our post, in the post for this live video. So if any of you guys have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. We want to start moving more towards YouTube because Facebook is being a little more and more restrictive every day. So I'm just putting the link in this post right now. Okay. Just 2 clicks, just 1 click, and you go to our YouTube channel and then subscribe.
Why are we mirrored on YouTube? It's to sort of have redundancy in case we get kicked off Facebook one day, and then everyone's like, "Where are they?" And then we could be like, "Hey, we're here." Because if the shooter wasn't a crazy vegan,
we'd rather be on several different
If it was one of you guys, we would have been good. So yeah, don't shoot anyone. Again, Civil Space is sponsored by not murdering people. Not murdering people, the best way to avoid a prison sentence for murder since 1865. Not murdering people, do it today.
And I put the link of our YouTube channel in the post right now. So if you refresh this post, you'll see it. You can just subscribe to it. And we put all our videos that we make on YouTube as well. Not most of the live ones. We've just started to put up the live videos on YouTube, but overall all our videos are on YouTube too. So just in case.
How's the cat? The cat
is fine.
He is delicious.
There was something funny. He had a piece of tape stuck to his mustache today.
Whiskers.
And he was basically entertaining himself for like half an hour.
He was just running around.
Running around. Legal loophole that has been made.
Tirza, God bless you. God bless you. And you know what? It's voting in 2019. I know you want him out. I know he should be out, but he is the Prime Minister. We're not a bunch of screaming leftists. We'll vote him out. If there was a legal loophole, someone would have found it. And
MJ, I don't think we are just trying to keep our options on all the media open. It's not like we want to jump ship. No, we'll continue on Facebook.
Oh, we're not going to leave Facebook
and YouTube.
We never leave Facebook. We're just if we get kicked off.
We're just trying to start our YouTube thing too. We want to start having our YouTube sessions too, and bring people to YouTube too. Because a lot of people right now have moved out of Facebook. So, but they can still enjoy YouTube. So that's why we're doing it. We're also testing like Twitter. We're also on Twitter. If you want to follow us. And please invite your friends, guys. When you hang out with us, this is now basically the core of our audience. You guys, we actually know most of you, and we've hung out or talked to most of you. So please invite your friends when you hang out with us. Invite people you know and stuff, so we can just raise this as a media for everybody.
All right. So, guys, thanks for coming out. Remember, diversity is our strength, and gender is a social construct.
Hi, the salami.
That too.
Why are we canceling?
Okay. I don't even know how it ended without me touching the end button. Right? It's great. Public.
Okay. Okay.
Refresh.
$200 views. Dude, you know what that means? That's like 14, 15 people.
It's just us.
They were watching the whole time. For an hour. All of them.
Yeah, we didn't dip too much once we got off. Our fluctuate I think we had, you know, at least half the audience was whole time. I think we had maybe 10 people go all the way through.
Yeah. That's good.
That is good.
That's actually great.
That's great. That shows that we have a show worth watching. People are like coming here and like Jack's like telling his friends and they're like, oh yeah, you should come hang out with these people.
Then we can basically, that's when we can actually do these pleas. Hey guys, could you invite your friends and stuff to the